I'm Scott Fox coming to you live from Southern California. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining me today. I know you have a lot of places you could be, but this was the right choice. Today, we're going to talk about startups, how you can raise money, how you can build teams, how you can satisfy customer needs and solve problems. That's a big one. And hopefully, have some fun and maybe dent the universe in a positive way while you're doing it. That's what this show is about. It's free office hours. Really, that's all it is. I'm here to talk to you during my lunchtime and try to help you based on my decades of experience in the startup world. We're going to be talking about how to raise money, how to recruit people, how to find product market fit, how to find good investors or bad investors, and how to do all those things that make a difference in terms of the trajectory of taking what's in your head out into the world and hopefully making a profit and doing some good while you're at it. So thanks for joining me. We do this once a month, fourth Tuesday of each month, and the idea is to help transfer some of the knowledge I've accumulated and reduce the barriers for participation in the new world economy for those of you who might be new to it, who perhaps are from an underrepresented background or are a first time founder, or maybe you're overseas outside of the US and it's difficult to access a lot of the expertise from Silicon Valley. Or maybe you're even here in the United States and it's difficult to access the expertise in Silicon Valley. There's a lot of gatekeeping that goes on in this industry. And I'm not a big fan of that. And well, that's why I wrote these books, actually. So these three books, in case you don't know me, I'm Scott Fox. I'm a serial internet entrepreneur. I've been building startup companies for 25 years now. These days, I'm mostly an angel investor. I work with a lot of small companies around the world, trying to help them get farther and faster to improve their product market fit and get to market. The books I wrote are really about how to take, like I've said a moment ago, take what's in your head and get it out into the world and turn it into a business. And those are in other languages. You can see Russian and Turkish and Japanese and Vietnamese and so forth. So if you're here from another country, know that you are welcome as well. This is a welcoming, safe, friendly space for entrepreneurs. Because of my somewhat unusual background as both a repeat founder and an investor and an author, I guess, I'm kind of in a unique place to help people put on the shoes of the other guy. And that's really what this office hours is about, is to try to help you figure out, if you're a founder, how to think more like an investor so that you can raise that money a little easier and more quickly. Or if you're an investor, maybe there are things that you need to think about in order to understand the founder mindset better. Of course, there's a whole professional class of investors who have never really run a company or raised money before, right? A lot of venture capitalists actually are former consultants or bankers. They're not necessarily founders like us. Here we go. Let me show you. See, like us. I literally am wearing the T-shirt today. Being an entrepreneur is a gift. It's a blessing. It can also be a bit of a burden if you have that kind of mindset. You're constantly out there in the world trying to improve and shake up the world. So this show is to try to help ease that transition a little bit. So let me invite you to come in and join me. We're going to be taking questions. The meat of this program is to ask questions. So this is the link if you want to come and join us backstage. I can see we've got Eric and Andre and Mikhail in the backstage area. We've got looks like three gentlemen so far. So especially if there are any ladies out there who'd like to participate, this is a safe space and happy to include you in our conversations. The folks backstage, if you wouldn't mind, if we're going to talk, I need you to turn on your camera. And also there's a private chat backstage, and just give me a quick one-liner in the private chat about what you'd like to speak about so that I can order the questions in some sort of reasonable order for those folks who are listening. So if you're joining us on YouTube or LinkedIn Live or Facebook or the podcast version, or you're watching this later at youtube.com/Scott Fox, happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us. So today we're going to, let's see, that's me. Let me just give you a couple more quick admin notes. Let's see, well, you should sign up for our email list. We have the Startup Council is a worldwide organization. We work with founders all over the world, basically trying to help improve the flow of information and access to capital. So if you go to that website and sign up for the Startup News, you'll see a bunch of different resources there that are free, and get the news and get in the loop, because that's the number one way to get involved, right? And to raise money, which is what most people want to talk about, why I started doing this, because this is the fundraising office hours show. So if you, let me give you that link again to get backstage. There's only room for 10 people backstage. So if you are not able to get in and you want to ask a question, just wait till a little later in the show and we'll try to bring you in as well. You can invite your friends to join us, of course, like I mentioned. We're live on YouTube and LinkedIn at the moment, and Facebook. And let me do a sound check. I blew that last time. Folks backstage, can you see me or hear me and see me okay? I presume people are showing up in the backstage. Eric and John, I can see you. Can you hear me okay? Is that thumbs up? Eric, John? No? Hopefully. Can anybody hear me? Okay, this is a little worrisome. Let's see. Eric, John, can you hear me? Sorry, this is embarrassing, but I don't know how to do this other than to ask. So can you give me a thumbs up, Eric or John? Yes, Eric, I saw something move there. How about Usman? Yes. Is that a thumbs up? Eric, you're waving. Yeah, okay, thank you. That's what I needed. Okay, thank you. All right, moving right along. So we had trouble with that in the past, so I wanted to make sure before I went too much farther. I literally did the introduction 3 times last month. My fault, not yours, but these things happen. Okay, before we get started, I want to point out we have a sponsor these days. We have a great company called Cake Equity. Cake is a stock options and cap table management platform. So if you know what that is, then you know you need help. If you don't know what that is, capitalization tables are what founders use and investors use to keep track of who owns the stock. And this can get turn into a very complex issue over time as you issue stock to different people. You have different investors, perhaps with different liquidity rights and so forth. And the idea is that this platform, Cake, is which looks like this. There's their logo, Cake, Cake Equity. Cake on there. Yeah, you go. Cake Equity. So these guys and gals are based in Australia, but they have built a global stock options management platform that makes it a lot easier for you to onboard employees and track your investors, and also to help your employees track their vesting and their options, which has been a big problem with many, many startups that I've worked with. A lot of people get a stock option grant. They don't know what it's worth. They put the paperwork in the drawer and they forget about it. And hopefully, hopefully years later, the company goes public and they make some money, but oftentimes it's really opaque, and Cake Equity is a very useful service for that. So cakeequity.com. Actually, there's a new URL. Let me give you this. I didn't, let's see, I'll put it in the chat. Oh, I don't have the chat on yet. Remind me to do that later. I'll give the URL, but I'll say it out loud. It's cakeequity.com/partners/SC, Startup Council. cakeequity.com/partners/SC. And that will give you 20% off their already low priced services, right? They're cheaper than Carta, they're easier to use than Carta, and they're global. So, okay. And I'm an investor in the company. That's why, full disclosure, I'm an investor in the company. So, okay. Love those guys. Okay. So now let's get to, sorry, let me just, one more bit of admin. Let's see if we've got everything covered here. This is not qualified legal or financial advice. I am a banker and a former attorney, but I am not giving you anything you should rely on. This is for entertainment purposes only. You should contact your own qualified financial and legal counsel if you're going to do anything serious, okay? Don't say anything confidential. This is a public forum, and this will be shared online, worldwide, and archived, so don't say anything that you wouldn't want everybody to know. Of course, we can talk in broad terms about almost anything. And have you liked and subscribed lately? If you would follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook, that would be really helpful and appreciated, because that's how this grows and we help more people. And what's this one? Okay, right. So startup event news, right? That's another good place to go. And oh, here's me, in case that's helpful. Let me just put that one. I'll put that right in the chat room. I'm happy to connect with you guys. Please leave a message as to who you are, though, right? Because believe me, I get lots of these and I ignore most of them. But if you're somebody who's actually involved in the community that we're building here and you would like to participate, then you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to. But please, like I said, don't just click connect. Put a little note, say who you are, and then we will connect. Okay. All right. So let's get going here. So we've got several folks backstage, and let's see, Andre and Mikhail and Usman and Jay and Jay. There's a Jay and a Jay Reed and Hubert are all back there. If you guys could put into the private chat, just give me a one-liner about what you'd like to talk about, please. That would be really helpful so that I can organize things in a logical way. And Eric is the only one who's done that so far. So, but if we could hear from Hubert and Jay and Usman and Mikhail back there, and if the rest of you would like to join us, that would be cool too. To do that is founderofficehours.com, founderofficehours.com. All right, that was a lot of preamble, and let me double check here. I think we're going to get going now. You ready? Okay, so I'm happy to have you here. Checking. Let's see. Oh, I know. Sorry, there was one other one, and then questions. I guess we're starting with Eric. Let me just see what Eric said. Okay, that's a good one, Eric. We'll start with that. But Hubert, I know you've been here before. You know how this works. And Jay, I see your camera's on. That's great. But everybody, guys backstage, turn on your cameras and please type in the little chat room what you'd like to talk about so I can do this logically, okay? And not confuse our audience. And we'll do pitch practice later too. That's right. So I'm glad I put that there. So if you would like to practice a pitch, I think that's why Hubert was here, then we will do that as well. Okay, so our last preamble was this. We have built a new service, and it's for you guys. And here it is, my high-tech ads, startupinvestorsdirectory.com. So this is a service, wait for it, that lists startup investors in a directory. And it's a directory built for early stage founders, right? Because the number one problem that I see, I've been doing this a long time, everybody wants to know, how do I find investors? So I'm sure we'll talk about this more in the show, but this is a service we built for you. It has over 1,000 investors in it now, and we're going to add several thousand more in coming weeks. It's going to be a big directory, and it's all accessible. It's only $99, and we've got a coupon. That's why, because people keep asking me about the coupon. Hold on, let me find the Chiron for that. There it is. Okay, so we set this up. This is a beta tester. It's still early stages, but Bronze Beta 50 is a half off forever. So you get it for $49. So that's it's a recurring annual or semi-annual, I think. But anyway, super deal. And this we're just trying to cover cost. But this is the only directory I know of that it doesn't just list. Of course, it lists investors, what stage they do, what industries they're interested in, that kind of thing. But there are 48 different categories that you can use. There's keyword search too, of course, but there's 48 different categories. So if you are, say, a African-American founder or a female founder or an immigrant founder or a first-time founder, or you don't live in Palo Alto, you live in Nebraska or Kentucky, or you live in Africa, you can go in and search for investors who are interested in you. And that's the key, is finding investors who are right for you, not just spamming investors. Do some research and you will find investors a lot more quickly. Okay, so we'll probably come back to that because we often get that question. But let's get going with this. Fundraising office hours, there we are. Okay, so at the moment backstage, let's see. Let me see. Yeah, the backstage is full right now, guys. So there's 10 people back there, and I will post it again when we have a little bit of room. So, okay, I've only got Eric and Jay. Hubert wanted to pitch, so we'll do that a little later. But Jay wants to know about best options at pre-seed stage for proof of concept for networking, for funding and mentors to transition, start building to move to seed round. Okay. Well, let's start with Eric then, if that's okay. Jay, that's a great question, and we will get to that. But Eric's is a little more intro. So this is our new friend, Eric. Hey, Eric.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Have you been on before?
I have, yes. I've been by a couple times, but I'm getting closer, I guess. But I'm looking to go from. You had mentioned that you need to have a demonstrable product and buyers before an investor is going to be interested in moving on something. It's a little bit of a chicken egg issue, but
that's right.
What I'd like to do is hire a programmer to put together effectively a clickable demo copy of Flying Airplane that would be the basic structure of the concept. Then be able to have like an installable program. Doesn't have to be fully fleshed out and minimum viable because I can't afford that right now. But I'd like to try to get it to the point where I could pitch it to you or someone else who would be interested in moving on it. But I would want to get maybe a handful of letters of intent from potential buyers. Yeah, I'll give you $29.95 for that kind of thing. That's not my mom as much as she thinks I'm terrific.
That's right. Good
So
advice.
you have a recommendation for somebody who would be able to do that?
So that's a great one for the audience, actually, because programmers come and go, especially early stage demo type concepts are not big enough projects to get a full team involved, right? And
Right,
those folks who are freelancing turn over a lot because they get another gig. So I
right.
don't have a specific recommendation, but this is a great crowdsourcing one. We'll turn on the chat here. Actually, let's turn on the chat right now and say hello to everybody. But folks, this is Eric. Where are you from, Eric? I forget.
Actually, Burbank, and I was actually. Are you up in Palo Alto?
Not these days. I'm in Orange County these days.
Orange County. Okay, okay. I grew
Yeah.
up in Palo Alto. So.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I went to school there, if that helps.
Stanford.
um, yeah, for graduate school. Yeah.
Yep, that's
Uh,
right down the street.
yeah. Right. There you go. So everybody out there, Eric would like to find some good programmers who can help him with what he just described, and I'm sure that there are folks in the audience who are uh, representing small firms or developers themselves specifically. Eric, why don't you can you give a one line about what you're doing? That way you might actually find somebody to partner with, which is probably also a nice idea.
It's a file management type program that will release people from having to go through folders on the computer.
Hmm.
You just run the computer without them.
Okay, well, there.
And
That sounds interesting to you, Eric. Eric, why don't you put you're in the private chat. If you go over to YouTube, you can put it in the public chat. If you want to post your contact info, that would probably be a good way to, or your URL or some way that people could find you. I'm sure that people
okay,
will have suggestions for that. My
all
general
right,
suggestion for this kind of thing is Upwork.com, and
Upwork.
probably
Okay,
most people know that. And just to finish the thought, Upwork.com, if you don't know, everybody, is a platform that connects freelancers with employers, right? So,
yeah.
and they have everything like lots and lots of developers, graphic designers. They even have attorneys, engineers, copywriters, anything you would want, really. And you can
If
hire and
I
meet.
if I may ask on that, a little concerned about it. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, this takes off, which of course it's the best idea in the world, and of course it will. But so I hire, Steve, and he programs this thing, and I put it out there, minimum viable product. I get funded, $250,000. This thing takes off, and the whole thing. Do I still have to hire that guy through Upwork, or am I stuck with that, or can I hire him away from it?
Oh, you can hire him away. They
Okay.
have there's a process for that. Uh, One of the reasons to do Upwork, which is worth mentioning here, specifically in this context, is if you have people do development work for you, you want to make sure that your intellectual property agreements are tight, that you actually own the work.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing. I want to own the thing.
yeah, the default contract agreements on Upwork are, I think, anyway, provide for that. It's not enough just to, everybody should know this. It's not enough just to pay developers or anyone really for work and then presume you own it. Copyright doesn't transfer, at least in the United States, unless there's a written signed authorization, right? So
Work for hire.
yeah, there's a whole body of law there, so I won't get into too fancy, but that's the right concept. So it's good to have. You really want to pay attention to this when you're outsourcing to people, because what you don't want to have happen is what you just said. Things go great, you raise some money, it goes big, and then somebody shows up from 5 years ago. Hey, I worked on the demo for that. I still own half of this because you didn't get it in writing, right? That kind of thing. So
Okay.
that's something to be careful about, and it's one of the first
Okay.
things that
I could look into that certainly, and then I can go jump onto the YouTube thing. But okay. All right. Well, very good. Thank you. That was
yeah,
my next step.
nice to see you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, hopefully that was helpful. So that was Eric. I'm overdue to talk to the chat folks. Let's see here. Let's welcome some people. Everybody put in where you're from. I always get a kick out of that because it shows it's one of the cool things about the internet. I'm old enough to remember before there was an internet, and it was really hard to meet people from other countries. So these days we are worldwide all the time. So let's go ahead and say hello. And if you wouldn't mind, tell me where you're from. I think that would be really cool. So let me scroll back in the chat for a second in a minute. Okay, Ketan from Bengaluru. All right, there you go. See, right off the bat, all the way from India. And Richmond, Virginia is who is that? Nihal and Julian from from Orange County, and Richmond from Alexandria, Virginia, and from Karthik from Toronto, and Nicole. Let's see, we'll get to your questions too. Yeah, go ahead and say hi to each other. Right, I see Nihal talking to some other folks there, go ahead and meet each other. Like, I don't have all the answers. I try, but I'm more like the organizer here, right? I'm convening the meeting, but think of this like a conference. Like, we're all in Las Vegas at the Bellagio and we're having a conference, but really the action takes place in the hallway, right? It isn't necessarily about the panel on the stage. It's you guys meeting each other. So go ahead, post your LinkedIn addresses and your email addresses, whatever. Nothing confidential, like I said, but go ahead and meet each other, because relationships are what build teams and lead to raising money. So go ahead and say hello. Okay. Oh, there's Michael. Hey, Michael, nice to see you. The audio sounds good. Yeah, sorry, you said that 15 minutes ago. I was trying to get the folks backstage to do it. Let's see. Davidson Pierre, you joining the Zoom? You're on the Zoom, brother. Let's see. Backstage, yes, we're full right now, Dominique. We'll put that up. It's founderofficehours.com, but go ahead and you can keep trying until we get on. Actually, Eric, if you wouldn't mind, actually, you could probably leave the backstage and go onto the public YouTube channel, unless you're going to have another question. Okay, let's see. There's Sean. Hey, Sean, nice to see you. Just saw you, last week, right? At that event that I was hosting, the Masterminds. Okay, I'll come back to some of the questions. I just want to see who all's here and welcome you, everybody. Glenda and Lyle and Kitan and Alex Revsky. Right, you're here in Orange County. Nice to see you. Julian and Glenda and Michael from LA and Alex from you live in Palo Alto now. Okay. And Darren from Austin, LA, Herndon, Virginia, and Rusty. Hey, Rusty, nice to see you. Beverly Hills, Irvine, Hong Kong, and excellent. Okay. Nice to see you all. Okay, well, good. Well, that sounds like a great group. Let's get back to some questions. Thank you all for being here. If you wouldn't mind taking a minute and pressing talking too fast, press subscribe or like and follow, all that kind of stuff. That's really helpful to help this free service reach more people, right? That would be really nice. There we go, because that's what drives everything these days, right? Okay, so now back to our guests backstage. Okay, Eric, would you mind leaving? Sorry to do that to you, but if you can make some more space backstage, that would be great. All right, so back to, let's see, Jay wants to know proof of concepts. Okay, Karthik. Yes, Karthik. Okay, yeah, we're handling the office hours link. Can you build a startup and raise money? Okay, that's a good question, Usman. Yep. Okay, Andre, fundraising at the seed stage. Typical. Yes, Andre, we can do that too. Hubert is going to pitch. Jay, okay, and Jay Reed from Florida. Okay, nice. Okay, so Jay and Jay Reed, do you guys have questions? Let me know what you want to talk about so I can put it in the chat there, right? So I got Usman, and I guess we'll take them in order so far here. Let's see, Jay. Okay, so Jay, yes, here's Jay. Okay, Jay, we're going to talk about, hi, Jay.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, nice to meet you. Okay, so I have a little trouble hearing you. Can you say that? Can you some more?
No, I just said hi, buddy. It's been a while since we've talked.
Okay. We met before. All right, nice to see you then, I guess.
Yeah, TCBN.
Yeah. So what's on your mind there? Can you paraphrase for the audience? And can you get closer to the microphone? You sound like you're a tin can.
Definitely. Hopefully everyone can hear me much better now.
That's better.
So right now the question I have is, we are working on an AI model. And the biggest thing with AI, it's easy to code for, but the data is what is the hurdle for us. Our AI, it means absolutely nothing. So it's easy to put the code together, and I feel as if we're misrepresenting ourselves. So to get to a viable proof of concept, we need funding, we need mentors who can help us partner, reach out into the industry to help us get access to the data. What's the best way to do that in today's market?
Wow, that's a tough one. Real chicken and egg, right?
Yes.
So first of all, anybody in the chat that has suggestions for Jay, please put them in the chat, because you guys may easily know more than I do about this. So what Jay's talking about is early stage founder, like Steve was talking a minute ago. You've got this chicken and egg problem of, how do I get enough money to demonstrate a concept? And Jay's taking it to the next level, which is, how do I raise enough money to demonstrate a concept that's based on something that I don't even have access to, right? It's like there's chicken squared or something. So yeah. Okay, so this is a real issue, and it's interesting. I'm glad you brought it up because I'm hearing a lot about this. This is a lot like what happens actually in medical devices and life sciences companies because they are demonstrating they have a theory about some new medical breakthrough, but it takes a ton of money to run all the testing that you need for human trials or even monkey trials, right? Or to build physical devices that are very complex and expensive to manufacture, especially if you're only going to build prototypes of small production runs of one or two or five of them, right? So there's not enough money to do that, and so the life sciences world tends to run on projections, and the qualifications of the team and perhaps past exits and things like that. So I think that's probably what you're looking at, Jay, is to the extent you can. I mean, the show must go on, right? You make the best of what you've got and try to convince somebody that you've got what it takes. More specifically for AI, and I'm not an expert in this area. I don't know that who doesn't do this full time, right? AI, congrats to you. It's certainly exciting, but man, is it moving fast? Um, the uh, the idea of getting a smaller subset of data, sort of training data, to work on, if it's one of these things where you need a billion records to demonstrate whatever you're trying to demonstrate, that's going to be tough. But if you could find a partner, potential user of the system, for example, who might have a subset of data, maybe only whatever 1,000 or 10,000 records as opposed to billion, that would demonstrate the process. That's kind of what I would be thinking about. Is that helpful? Have you already done that?
We've tried. The difficulty is generally, for example, we're working in the mortgage industry space.
Okay.
They themselves are not often the owners of the data.
Yeah.
It's through another service, So the industry itself is very segmented. Salesforce will own a particular amount of data.
Right.
They're not going to allow us to peek at it.
Right.
That's a big example for us.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. The ownership of data. Yeah. Well, that's about my best idea. I guess I would, if that's the case, I guess I would double down on two things, which is try to talk them into it. Right. And then the second would be trace back as best you can who is the source of the data, who really owns it, as opposed to having a license. Like, honestly, I don't know, but just to continue the example, Salesforce might not own it. They might not have the rights to license it to you, right? Because it may actually be owned by Experian, say, or a credit bureau or somebody, or a bank or something, right? And if you could figure out where it really came from, maybe you could go directly to the source and try to talk them into something, especially if you could sweeten the deal with either some pilot projects for them for free, or participant discounts, or maybe even equity in the company or whatever. There's only so many tools you have, but sounds like a sales job, unfortunately, which is probably not why you got into this. I'm guessing.
Which is why we're asking about mentoring, but I digress. I'll let you move on. I can step out of the room. I appreciate the time.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that's helpful. And again, if anybody has help for Jay, please chime in there. AI is a huge opportunity, so I'm guessing that Jay is a good guy to know. So
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, nice to see you. And go ahead, Jay, if you want to put something more, like I said, in the chat room, your LinkedIn or contact information. People might be looking to contact you after that quick introduction. Cool. All right, moving right along. Wow, we're a half hour already. Okay, let's see. Let me just say hi to anybody new that came in the chat room here. Where'd my chat go? There it is. Okay, so let's see who showed up here in the last few minutes. Okay, so Katan, thank you. Appreciate the support. Will from LA, the founder of Happyverse. Nice to see you. Andre, you were here last time. Nice to see you again. And Dominique Nicole says the credit bureau. Okay. Oh, she's in AI. Okay. Well, there we go. This is working. The evil plan is working. And Katan has a suggestion as well. Good. Raghu Kashyap. Yeah. Well, there's two thoughts. Two people you probably didn't know, Jay, 20 minutes ago. So hopefully that's helpful. And thank you to Katan and Dominique. The way the startup world works the best, at least in my point of view, is when people help each other. I mean, that's the way everything works, really. But a lot of this stuff is early stage, and even if you think you know everything, you don't. Things are moving fast, and you always need team members. And people think about investors the most, but team members and a support network is super important, especially in fast-moving fields like AI, because the goalposts are moving constantly, and you need to be ready to move with it essentially. And a support network can really help with that, help you adapt. So yeah, like I said, please everybody go ahead and say hello. And like I said, you can reach me. I think, yeah, there we go. There's me. If you want to say hi on LinkedIn, please do. Like I said, please do say hello. Give me some sort of message that we're connected for some reason, or how we connected, I mean, and I'd be happy to connect with you guys, because we're doing this. I'm planning on doing this more often if you find it helpful. It's just hard to, everybody's so busy, including me. All right, so let's go backstage again and see let's say hi to everybody again. Okay, so I'm gonna bring a bunch of you. Let's bring everybody on stage. I need a group photo, I'll be honest. Let's do this. Here's Usman and Hubert. There we go. There's a couple of people, friendly faces. And who else we got here? Here's Nihal and Karthik. Hey guys, all right. All guys, so where are the ladies? Come on. All right. No offense to any of you gentlemen. I'm a gentleman, obviously, but let's get some ladies in here too. All right. So say, if you guys wouldn't mind, can you smile? That's a beautiful smile. Nihal wins for best smile, I think. But give me a thumbs up or something. I need something to post on social media. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's do this out loud. It's more fun when we talk. Let's see. Who wants to just tell me real quick? So Hubert, did you just want to pitch today? Was that the idea?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a situation, but
okay. You want to ask a question also, or?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. So just quickly, what's the question? The quick version of the question.
So I have a regular pitch, and I have a pitching opportunity later this week, but they like a certain feature, so I've changed my pitch drastically, and I would love to have some feedback on the new version.
Okay, cool. Well, we can do that in a few minutes.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. He's here from Hong Kong, so must be, what time is it there? Oh, it's probably lunchtime already, or it's not middle of the night, right?
Okay. 3 a.m., but
I love 3 a.m., sorry. Okay, 3 a.m. That's dedication. All right, nice to see you, Hubert. Okay, and how about Nihal? What would you like to talk about, Nihal?
All right, I hope everybody can hear me.
Yep, sounds good.
Good. So I'm an environmental science student from George Mason University here in Fairfax, Virginia, currently living in Richmond. And what we're trying to develop, our company is called Hydrobond Platform. And we are trying to introduce green bonds that are tokenized. Of course, trying to go through SEC hurdles, trying to go through the securities issues of issuing bonds while not being Series 7 licensed is a hurdle for us. So we're looking for partners that are able to help us get over that licensing hurdle and able to help us tokenize our commodities. This is, of course, to help with climate friendly projects.
Okay, well, great. So that's not a question so much as an appeal for partners or investors or, okay, well, great. Well, so there you go. You just did it. So that's everybody. That's Nihal from the DC area, and sounds like a very interesting project. Nihal, why don't you, so you're in the backstage chat. If you go over to YouTube or LinkedIn Live, you can put your contact information in the public chat, and then people could find you. So do you have a website or LinkedIn or something you can share?
Yes, I do, sir. I'll put that in the YouTube.
Okay, let's do that. Great. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Have a good day.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Okay. And then who we got left? Usman and Karthik. Okay. Karthik, you're bigger on the screen right now. So why don't you, what is it you wanted to chat about?
Hi. So I'm building a premium directory service. So essentially getting their businesses listed on my directory is free. But if they want to use any of the integration platforms that I'm currently building, there'll be a charge associated with that. I'm curious to learn.
I'm sorry, slow down. Do they want to use a what platform?
The integrations. So I have a directory service that integrates.
Yeah, no, I heard that, but you said a something platform, user integration platform.
Yeah, so basically the directory would integrate with the different marketplaces and procurement systems. In order to use that, I'm going to be charging my customers a fee.
Yes.
I'm wondering, like, what would be the good time for me to go and raise funding? Right now, I have a free platform that is up and running. I have manufacturers listing their information on my platform, and I'm currently working on the integration. Is the free good enough MEP for me to go and talk to the investors? Or
okay. That's good enough. Good enough. Well, we will talk about it. That's a great question. But I want to do them in order. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely talk about that. Happy to have you here. Okay, Usman, what was your topic? And this also tells people that are watching if they want to stick around, right? Usman, what's on your mind?
Yeah, so I'm trying to solve the problems people have when they.
Sorry, stop. You're totally breaking up. Are you hearing that, Karthik and Hubert? It's like, yeah, your microphone is scrambled or something.
Sorry, I will take out the ear.
Oh yeah, try that. Try again. Sounded like interference. Now I can't hear you at all.
Sorry,
No.
is that better?
There we go. Way better. Yes. Okay.
Sorry for that. So currently, what I'm doing is I'm trying to solve problem when people have when they buy clothes online, like size, fit, and takes a long time.
Okay.
And then
What's the question? I just need the quick question, and then I'll come back.
So the question is that can you build a startup and raise funding, but relying on third-party APIs like Amazon, Shopify, or do you just do a different approach by B2B and approaching businesses?
Very interesting. Okay, cool. Well, so we'll come back and then we'll get more detail. Okay, cool. So let's talk about, so Hubert, we're going to do pitches a little later. I will promise we'll come back. And then, so let's start with Karthik then. Usman, we'll get back to you too. That's a little more technical. So I'm starting from the broader base. And then is there anybody else backstage? Jay Reed or Daniel or Leo? If you want to turn on your cameras and participate, that would be great. You're welcome to do that. And I think the backstage is full. But if not, sorry, Karthik, hang on one more minute here. If there's room back there, other folks, we're happy to talk to you as well. Founderofficehours.com will get you backstage. But you need to turn on your camera so I can talk to you, because it's no fun just talking to, a blank space. Okay, so Karthik, back to you. Let's go ahead. Now let's hear more about your, this is a funding timing question, sounded like. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a funding timing questions. So right now I have this free platform. I have 11 customers that listed their information on my portal. But then I'm going to be charging them when they want to start accessing my premium version. I'm currently building that. I don't have the MVP for the premium version yet. I need money to build that. I need more developers to build that. So would this be a good appropriate time for me to go and raise the funding, because I already have a customers, I already have a free platform, but I'm not generating any revenue from them yet. I will only get the revenue when I build the premium version. To build the premium version, I need more money.
Yeah, right. Chicken and egg again. Okay, and where are you based?
I'm currently located in Toronto, originally from India.
All right. Okay, in Toronto. Cool. Okay, so I think the answer is always be fundraising. That's the top line. The idea that investors are waiting for someone to show up with a plan is true, but it's not the whole story. What investors are really waiting for is an investor to show up, for a startup to show up that meets their criteria and that they trust. And the criteria is usually spelled out on their website. If you do some research, you can find what they're looking for. But the trust is the harder piece. And that's what I would encourage you to do now. It sounds like, especially, you've already built some stuff, you have customers, you may not have the money yet, but now's the time to start reaching out and building the relationships, so that when you're ready and you have the stuff, it'll be easy. It's kind of like dating, right? If you meet a bunch of attractive potential mates, you don't just immediately propose marriage, right? You go on a few dates first, right? And that's, I think, what you want to be doing right now. So you have enough already that they might be interested in keeping in touch. And everybody appreciates a founder who demonstrates the strategic outlook that they're going to actually do the research and sort of make a friend, or at least a contact, and then keep in touch gently. So that way, over time, say you start that, what is it? It's the end of May. So say you spend a week or two and you identify this. Here's a basic business development outreach plan for investors, for everybody. Say you spend the next couple weeks. I don't know if are you on this full time, or is this a part-time thing?
Right now, it's a part-time thing. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to take a couple weeks, right? So go out and look at 200 or 300 investors, but figure out what it is about you that's unique, and you really want to boil that down to, say, 20 or 25 investors who really do what you're talking about, because it's a waste of your time and theirs to pitch investors who don't do that, right? It's just like dating, right? You're going to go try to, date a horse. Well, horses and humans don't date, right? It's just not a thing, right? So that research is the piece that so many founders miss. Not all investors are the same. It's not just like a bank. You can walk into any bank and open a checking account. You can't do that with investors. So you do the research and you boil that down to, say, like I said, a couple dozen, and then put together some outreach and figure out, ideally, something personal about each and every one of them. And I know this sounds like a lot of work, and it's not why you started your company, but this is how you get funded. And this is true for everybody listening. Figure out where they went to school. What other companies have they invested in? Is this the right stage? Did they, do early stage, middle, or late stage companies? Is their fund old, meaning they're out of money? Or is it a brand new fund, meaning they have a lot of money, so they're probably anxious to deploy it? Like, you need to build kind of a profile. Pretend like I'm just thinking this. I was watching a spy movie last night. Pretend you're a hitman, right? And you got to figure out, who are they? Where do they live? Like, track them down, and like, how are you going to get into their life? That's really what this is. It's stalking. Because if you do that for, so then say you're 25 and you figure out, well, let's do some research. Well, probably 10 of those weren't as on target as you thought. So there's 15. And then maybe a couple of those, whatever, it turns out, he retired or she quit or whatever. So that you got maybe 10 or 12. Really do a dive on them so that your outreach can be, hey, Karthik, I know you live in Toronto and you grew up in India, and, I'm working on this thing just like you. And, I saw you invested in that. And we're only looking, we're not even raising money yet, but I thought that this is something that you might be interested in, because I see that you have a background. Your degree is in this kind of engineering from this school, and my cousin went there. And, like, that's like an email. VCs go, okay, I don't know if I like this person or I like the idea even, but I can tell that they are paying attention. And they are the kind of person that I would want to work with. And that's like 80% of the game, right? You the idea that you could know somebody, like, say, me, right? Oh, do I know this other guy? Sure, I know him. Okay, I'll introduce you. Well, that's not really going to help nearly as much as what I just said, right? You put some time in, because we all get, every one of us, founders, investors, everybody, we get thousands of bullshit emails, delete. And believe me, investors get tons of them. So they're just going to get deleted if you don't make this effort up front. So anyway, that was a long answer to a short question.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to go. And start that now. And let me finish the story then, if that's useful. So in June, say by middle of June, you can send out 10 or 15 emails that are on target, right? And maybe you don't even put it all in the first email, right? Because they're likely to ignore it. But whether they ignore it after having read it or they just deleted it is the whole game, right? You want them to at least read it. And then 2 weeks later, you say, hey, we have an update. We made this little bit of progress. Hey, and I see also that you play, you play pickleball and I play pickleball. Isn't that funny, right? Just something personal, a little personal plus an update. And then a month later, another update. And then you just kind of get into their heads. That's how you raise money these days. It's not about, here's a list of 1,000 investors, blast out of spam, right? So, okay, that's one of my favorite topics. And that's actually, this is a segue. That's why we built this, right? The startupinvestorsdirectory.com. This is designed to help you so that you can go in and find, it has a bunch of that stuff. Like, I don't know whether they play pickleball or not, but it will say like their previous portfolio investments, how old the fund is. Do they invest, say, in maybe they're, do they like immigrant founders, or they like Canadians, or what, something personal about you. You can drill down more, and that's startup. Yeah. So seriously, I did not have to do this, but this is because this is the number one question I get, and we'll be happy to help you guys. And let me put up the beta offer there again. Some of you probably wrote it down. I always forget it. There it is. Okay. So if that helps anybody, please go check it out. All right. So I hope that was helpful, Karthik. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and come back and tell us if it works, right? I'm not trying to, I'm making this up, but it's based on expertise. So if it doesn't work, tell me, and we'll all learn.
Oh, well, yeah.
Cheers. Okay. So that's how this works, guys. It's not like I said, it's not like a bank. You just walk in, you wait till the last minute, and then you have all your stuff ready, and you show up and like, give me money, right? That's what banks do. That's not what angel investors and venture capitalists do. It just doesn't work that way. All right, moving along. Let's see. So if you're watching this later, that's cool. You can still comment on YouTube or LinkedIn, and I or someone that I work with will try to help you, because that's what we do at the Startup Council. The Startup Council is my group. Actually, there it is behind me, startupcouncil.org. You can go over there and learn about a lot of the services we do, like the Startup Investors Directory. We're trying hard to make the world of investing more transparent and equitable so that everybody can participate. I am now kind of an insider, right? I went to Stanford and I invest and I have, you know, a lot of connections, but I didn't start that way. I grew up in the Midwest and didn't have much, and I kind of worked my way in. And these days I spend most of my time trying to help other people work their way in. So that's what the Startup Council is about. So if that is interesting to you, please go join our email list. Let me, that one. I think that URL is working. If that one's not working, tell me. I haven't checked that one in a while. Okay, so let's get back. Let's check on our friends in the chat room. And then we've got Uzman, and it looks like we've got some new people in the chat room. Apurva and Ali, and cool. And Leo and Jay and Andre. Cool. We've got several people back there. Let me just visit the chat room for a second in case there's anything on fire that I said something stupid, which does happen. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, chat room. Okay, so hello. Purva's from Seattle. Nice to meet you. Chris from Irvine. Hubert, yes, from Hong Kong. Davison made it over from Facebook, it looks like. Then John, hey, John from Irvine. And let's see, there's my LinkedIn Earl, if you guys want to say hello. Darren from Austin has a question. Okay, well, so Darren, everybody, you're welcome to help Darren there. He's got a funding request. Mission-based activewear, that's cool. Darren, if you want to come backstage, we could talk about that. But otherwise, everybody check out Darren. Darren, you should put some contact info in the chat as well. Like put your LinkedIn in there or something. Otherwise, people don't know unless you're just trying to identify yourself. But if there could be people in this audience who are helping, I know there are investors watching this, if that helps at all. I know there are investors watching this. My friends watch this show from time to time. Okay. Look at startup pre-seed investors. Elixir, same thing. If you're looking for pre-seed investors, put some contact info in there, and then hi from Boston. Okay, cool. So put some contact info in the chat, and you guys can help each other. And go to startupinvestorsdirectory.com, like I said. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the camera again. Let's see here. We've got here's Andre, and it looks like it can't both be named Andre, but one of you is Andre, I presume. And oh, sorry, hey, Uzman. Okay, let's hold on. That's an ugly shot. There's a better way to do that. No, that's not going to help. No, that doesn't help either. All right, hang on, Andre. Oh, hang on, we'll get both of you guys in here. I'm sorry, I need another.
It's fine.
There's Apurva. Yeah, we got some ladies in the house. Good, and Ali as well. Okay. Hey guys, nice to see all of you. And can you wave or something? I need these photos. Yeah.
Hello.
Free advice. Who likes free advice? Okay. Well, good. Anyway. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's hear what you guys want to talk about, and then we're going to get to Uzman too, I promise, and Hector as well. But Apurva, how about you go first? What do you?
I am good. I've recently moved to Seattle, and I'm enjoying the sun over here. So yeah, it's lovely.
Excellent. So, just give me the quick version. What's your question, just so I can work it in?
Okay, so just a quick question. I went to Brown 5 years back. I pursued engineering management program, but then for 5 years I was in India.
Sorry, just the question. I want to hear all that.
Now I want to work for angel investors or VC firms where I can learn how I can raise funding for the startups.
Okay, cool. All right, that's an interesting question. We haven't had that one before. Okay, we'll bring you back. Go ahead and mute for the moment, and then Ali, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm actually living in OC now. I'm from Silicon Valley, but I'm a founder of an AI company, and basically want to ask you about the resources available locally that you have available here. I know you build a big network around here, and I wanted to ask you, like, what are the things locally available for entrepreneurs?
Okay, cool. That's an easy one. I'd start by going to the OCStartupCouncil.org. That's where we list a lot of stuff. And actually, that's my answer. I don't want to. This is a worldwide broadcast, so I don't want to spend it all on Orange County stuff because we're here. But I'm happy to have you. Go to ocstartupcouncil.org, get on the email list. We have a calendar, we have a jobs board, we have a blog. We cover everybody in Orange County, and come to the events, and you'll meet everybody. That is the answer. Are you on the list already?
Yeah.
Okay, so just read those and come to stuff, and I'd be happy to meet you. Our next in-person event on June 20th. There's going to be an event in Garden Grove, and you should come to that. And
I'll be there.
Meet everybody. All right, that was an easy one. Thank you. Okay. All right, and then Andre. So which one of you is Andre?
Hi, Scott. It's me, and my name is Rana. And Rana, my co-founder.
Okay. Hi, guys. Where are you from?
Oh, originally from Russia, but we moved to Israel.
Oh, all right. Great. So late at night there. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we appreciate your work and your advice.
Oh, sure. So what's the question you have?
So the question is, for us as early stage founders working on MVP right now, we are interested in how to approach investors further in terms of pitching them the idea with budgets that include marketing expenses. Is it okay, or would it repel them? Because our business model would be B2C to B, and we need to attract much traffic, and for that we need marketing expenses.
Gotcha.
And in their eyes, is it just burning money, or is it how can we justify it? And and another quick thing: when is the right time to start looking for investors? Because we will launch the MVP and start getting traction. Is there any benchmark for the time when it is the time to?
Okay, good. That's a good question too. Okay, so let's. I'm going to put both of you on hold if you don't mind, Apurva and Andre and Anna. Sorry, doing a lot of things at once here. Hang on. There you are. Okay, and let's bring Usman back because he's been very patient, and we'll talk. This is going to get a little technical, but then we're going to talk about working for VCs and pitching VCs and marketing budget. Yep, that's interesting stuff and useful. And then we'll take questions out of the chat room as well. So if you have a question from the chat room, go ahead and put it in there. Okay, Usman, thank you for waiting. So where are you? Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, so I'm from Seattle.
Okay, cool. Nice to see you. Have you been on before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay. All right. Well, nice to meet you. All right. So give us a little more detail. You're building a platform, and you've got APIs that you're bringing in from third parties, and you're worried about the sustainability and scalability from an investor's point of view?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to solve problems people have when they buy clothes online. So just making experience interactive and personalized.
Right.
For that, either I need to have API data from Amazon, Shopify, the stores that are already there. I'd start with like B2B model of like approaching businesses like small stores, and then ask them, oh, I can generate more revenue for you because I have a new tool, like a VJ or something that you can add to your website that would help you like improve the customer experience.
Yeah.
Bring more revenue. So the like different approach. So I'm trying to see from investors' point of view. I feel like maybe B2B is what investors will like, but it doesn't necessarily solve the problem for end customer, as well as if there was a standalone platform, they can just go and buy stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So which part of that is the question then?
So like, would investors be willing to invest in a company that relies on API data from Amazon and Shopify? Because is it scalable? But if they take away the, API data to provide. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think like everything in this space, the answer is it depends, of course, right? I think what investors are looking for is to reduce risk. So if your APIs, well, first of all, there's a question about finding investors who understand enough to appreciate the risk, right? So if you go to your friends or family who don't have a technical background, they're just going to be investing in you because they believe in you, they love you, they trust you. So that isn't probably an issue until the API breaks, of course. That's a different discussion. So the earliest stage investors tend to be friends and family, and that's a different sort of question, right? So, and I think you know that, but just to be clear, there's phases for this kind of stuff, and so you're really talking about later stage and, well, still early stage, but perhaps after friends and family. So professional-ish investors, angels, and early stage VCs. So then you're talking about what I was talking about with Karthik, I think, which is identifying investors who would be smart enough to understand that there is a risk there, because there's I can see easily two buckets here of investors. There's one, people who just kind of get the concept. They would essentially be like end users, and they say, "Oh, that's a cool idea. I get the demand for that. I think I would like to invest because I believe in your vision," and that's totally cool, right? The other type of investor, though, might be more technical and say, "Okay, I kind of see the market possibility, but I understand the plumbing here, the pipes, these APIs, and everything you're putting in. There's a risk." Personally, both would be nice, but I think you really want the second one even more than the first, because VCs can be helpful in helping you understand your own risk. I mean, you have risk here too, right? It's not just them. You're putting a lot of your own time and money and life into this. So having people who have seen this in other contexts, API built companies, I think could be really useful for you. The idea of mentors, investors who are mentors and partners, as opposed to just a check. Because the first two categories, meaning the friends and family check and then the end user type investor check, are both, the money is green, so I would still take it. But at some point, you're going to want to grow a board of directors who can advise you on how this grows and what the real risks are. So those are the people that I think can help you kick the tires to really understand, is this a good idea or not? Because they've seen it before. That also leads to the fact that ideally you've found people who will invest in this and who understand the risk enough to intelligently commit to the investment because they understand and are comfortable with it. Am I on the right track?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the other thought would be, a lot of it depends, of course. An API isn't really that much different than, say, in a traditional business, you have suppliers. Like if you own a pizzeria, right? You know who's going to give you the flour and the pepperoni, and the landlord has the lease. You have suppliers of all the parts, right? So this is a part supplier. So any investor, whether it's an equity investor like an angel investor like me, or a VC, or a debt investor like a bank, they're going to look at those suppliers and see, are they reliable? What kind of credibility do they have? And my point is that for the APIs, if it's an API from a company that is well established and is known for sharing its APIs freely or at a known cost, and that they're credible, that's probably not a problem, right? If it's a big company. But if it's a small company, like your API relies on something from your cousin's new startup, which is also not funded, and it may be brilliant, but you don't know if it's going to be there in 6 months, that's probably not such a good idea, right? And the in between, of course, is companies like Twitter or Facebook that launch big APIs. People build a whole bunch of stuff, and then they change the rules, right? And they screw everybody, right? Yeah. So that's dangerous as well. So long story short, I think the idea is, who are the APIs? I don't know. You don't need to answer that, but that's what the investors are going to want to know. Like, okay, I don't think an API company in and of itself is a bad thing, but you want to find people who understand the risk and can help you weed through the good ones versus the bad ones. Is that useful?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention also that I'm also looking for co-founders. So if anybody is interested in this idea, I have previous experience with search and ads and like recommendation models, so I'm happy to connect.
Nice. Well,
I'm trying to post my LinkedIn on YouTube, but it doesn't come through the chat.
You're in the backstage chat, so go over on YouTube directly, and you're done here. So if you leave this, I'll just remove you when we're done, and then go log in on YouTube or LinkedIn Live, and you should be able to type it in there, and it will show up here on the thing that everybody can see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, nice to meet you, Usman. Good luck with everything. All right, so that was Usman from Seattle. Next, we talked to Ali. We talked to let's see, Apurva, about working for VCs. This is an interesting question. Where did Apurva go? Are you still there? Sorry, there she is. All right. Okay, Apurva. So you went to Brown, you got some engineering background. You sound like a pretty qualified, sharp person. You're looking to get into VC?
Yes.
Okay.
I really want to learn how to raise funding for the startups. I come from India, and I have like worked with. I was running my own business back in India in a construction firm. So I have a pretty diverse background. I also worked for Tesla Solar when I was in the United States.
Oh.
So I feel I have this big appetite for working on multiple businesses, and I feel like now I just want to help some good companies raise funds.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's good. It's always nice to find investors who are um, interested for the right reasons.
Yes.
So, okay. So the first question when thinking about that is, do you have money that you would invest as well, or would you want to be more an employee?
I currently want to be an employee. I though do have funds, but I do not have enough confidence that I would be able to make right decisions.
Uh-huh.
So I would rather love to be an employee. I also want to do volunteers. I can volunteer for free for now. I mean, I'm okay with that.
I see. Okay.
Not even looking for like a paid job or anything. It's just that I want to just hang out with some good angels and VCs and work for them for free. you
Yeah.
know they can pay me in pennies if that is how they say you should never do anything for free.
No,
That's
no.
not the concern. I am well off for now, and I'm not currently looking for a job,
Uh-huh.
but I really want to learn the art of raising funds.
Right. Okay. So there you go. So that was a great commercial. I just gave you airtime for the whole world. Hopefully somebody will see this and be interested in working with you. You sound like a pretty sharp lady. Um, Let me just back up a little bit. The reason I asked her right away whether she had money to invest or not is because a lot of funds, if you're an investor, they're more interested in hiring you, right? Because you're adding to their pool. So and sometimes you literally can buy into the partnership, but that can take millions of dollars, right? So it's not for everybody. But that was just a clarifying question. So of course it's fine to start as an entry level and volunteering to work for free. People do say that, but I have to tell you, I worked for free at least twice in my life to get into new industries. If you can afford to do it, it's a great way to do it. I don't see any shame in that.
Yeah, even I don't find any shame
Yeah,
in.
yeah, go for it. I mean, if that can get their attention, then absolutely do that. And
Even where can I start with? Like, I'm in Seattle. It's been just 2 weeks. I moved back to the city, and I'm just trying to wonder, like, what can be my initial steps? Should
yeah,
I just directly reach out to VC firms or angels, or I'm also being part of very? I'm also attending a lot of meetups these days. I'm going.
that's good.
over-
Yeah,
I'm,
you're on the right track. I think it's really about meeting people and building relationships, kind of like raising money. In this case, the startup is you, right?
yeah, this is.
So going to the meetups and shaking hands and have a business card so they can remember you and being friendly and offering to help. And this can certainly happen online as well. We have another resource. Actually, let me put this in the chat. This is a new one. Actually, it hasn't really even been announced yet. But I think this will work. Let's see. HTTPS. We built a directory of all virtual startup events so that people from all over the world, sorry, I'm trying to type in talk, startupevents.org. There. Startupevents.org. So this is a calendar, the only one I know of in the world, that
Okay.
collects all the virtual events for startups. So from Seattle, you can go to all in one place. You can get on one email list and get stuff from all over the world, right? And then you can go to stuff. Of course, in Seattle would be ideal, and that's a good town to be in, right? There's plenty of VC there, but you could go to attend other things because there are many pitch competitions and different kinds of events online, and they almost always, not always, but a lot of times are run by volunteer groups, often alumni groups like Brown or any other school. And I was on a call yesterday. I run Stanford Angels. I run Stanford Angels for this region. And we were on a call just yesterday and 2 people moved away and now we have to find new people, right? And it's like constantly finding people that fit in. And getting to those events and just being friendly is what I would do. I don't think there's any shortcut. But having a business card, having maybe a resume or something, or a LinkedIn, so that your LinkedIn is tight. And actually, again, like I said with Usman, you should probably, let's have you leave this chat and go post publicly on the YouTube or LinkedIn chat and put your contact info in there because people are watching now, and there could be people watching the replay later, and they might be looking for an Apurva in their life. So.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your advice.
All right. Nice
I
to meet
look
you. All right. Hope to see you again. Keep in touch. Let us know.
Certainly.
All right. Cool. Well, that was a good question. Interesting new angle. Nice to see people interested in the VC industry for the right reasons. Okay. Apurva impresses me, Sarala says, and inspires me. I'd like to volunteer work for angel investors, get my feet wet, dipping into the startup ecosystem too. So there, okay. So Sarala's on the same page there, Apurva. So maybe you two guys could team up even. That'd be kind of cool. All right. Who we got left here? Oh, so Andre and Anna are still waiting, I think. What time is it? 1:04. Okay. Then we got Hubert is still here up in the middle of the night, Hubert. Sorry. Pitches are last. Sorry. It's like 4 a.m. for him now. Okay. But we will get there. And let's, okay. And it's not early in Israel either. So thank you guys for tuning in. I try to find a time that's in the middle of the day in a lot of places. But of course, with this big world of ours, it's not in the middle of the day everywhere. Okay, so let's bring on Andre and Anna. Okay, so they're checking in. Where are you guys? Tel Aviv or?
Yeah, right now in Tel Aviv.
Okay, great. Well, welcome. So you wanted to talk about pitching and including your marketing budget in your pitch. Is that right? Okay, so give us the summary.
Because of the business model, we found out that B2B is much more in demand in the investor community than B2C.
Mm-hmm.
And basically because of the marketing expenses, which are perceived just like cash burn for investors. And then given the current climate, they are not inclined to spend money on this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's something I learned personally as a founder and then later as an investor. B2B is just a lot more reliable. So investors prefer that. You know, it turns out consumers are fickle and trends change, or they might get laid off and not have any money, you know, but businesses, they have budgets, right? They plan and they have money to spend. So the feedback the market's giving you, I think, is accurate, and it continues to be the truth. People like reliable cash flows. That's the definition of an investor, I guess. Okay, so if you're going to include the marketing budget, yeah, I mean, if it's truly a B2C play, so everybody, if you're new to this, B2B means business to business and B2C means business to consumer. So what Andre and Anna are talking about is a business that serves businesses first and then also serves the customers. So can you give us just a top line of what it is, just so people have some idea?
Yeah, it's a marketplace of education and scholarships programs.
Oh, cool. Okay. So the B2B there for everybody else, I'm guessing, you guys correct me, the B2B is they need relationships with a bunch of educational institutions and foundations who are offering scholarships. So that's the business. And they put that all in one place. And then they're selling or giving or advertising based revenue from the consumers who would want to access the business. So that's B to B to C. Is that more or less the idea?
Yeah, it's rather B2C to B, but you got the idea, right?
Okay. So a little, right. Okay. So yes, investors don't like marketing burn. It's just too fickle. So I guess if there's no way to make money directly from the B2B side of it, then you don't have a choice, it sounds like. So I don't know. It's a pretty short discussion. You have to do it. So if you have to do it, then the question is, how do you position that to be as attractive as possible? So in that case, and you can start waving your hands if I'm on the wrong track, but it's really a question of de-risking that spend. If you can show whatever, really the goal of marketing, of course, is to spend $1 and get $2 back. So your goal, I think, at this point, if you don't have a bunch of capital to prove the point, is to run some pilot tests. So if you could spend a small amount of money, say $100, and show that for $100, well, maybe the first time, you only made $40 back. That didn't work. So then you run another $100. And when I say run, I'm talking about probably the most direct way to reach consumers, as I'm sure you guys know, but for everybody, is to run ads, say on Facebook or Google or on Instagram or things like that, and like go directly to the audience and just see what kind of reaction you can generate, and run a series of tests. Say, just making this up, but if you had $500 and you spent $100 a week and tried 5 different increasingly refined things, at the end of that, you would have some data. And the idea is that then maybe you would have data that showed, look, we learned from our mistakes, and with only $500, we went from a conversion rate of basically 0 to 6% or 8% ideally. And we estimate that if you gave us $1 million, right, you can see where I'm going with this, right? $1 million at a 6% take rate and a conversion rate of this, we estimate we'd have a CAC, a customer acquisition cost of this, and a lifetime, but the lifetime value, LTV, of that customer would be triple that ideally. And therefore, if you give me $1 million, we expect that we could turn it into $5 million in 18 months or something like that. And build a story. Investors eat numbers, right? That's what we eat. It's numbers, right? Stories are good, and you need the story to attract attention and to increase their remembering of you, right? To stick in the memory. But it comes down to the numbers. And a story about marketing is not nearly as good as an equation about marketing. And if you can develop an equation based on some beta testing and proof of concept sort of stuff, that makes the marketing spend look more digestible, more believable, I guess. I'm not sure what the right word, credible, something like that. And not just a cash burn. Maybe? Is that useful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we also had a question about when to approach investors after we publish the MVP, and what traction should we, is there any benchmark? What traction should we reach to be eligible for approaching investors?
Sure. So, okay, timing for approaching investors. So I think we've talked about it twice so far today. Now, immediately, right? Because you need to build the relationship. So you're not approaching them with actually an ask for money. You're approaching them with a friend request, basically, right? Like, hey, we're doing this stuff. I see you do similar stuff. Let's be friends. And that's what needs to happen before you get a check regardless. And the most common mistake I see entrepreneurs make in this area is they wait till they have everything all perfect and then show up and expect the investors to immediately buy in. And that's the wrong way to do it, because the clock doesn't start on your relationship until that approach. And you need to start the clock sooner so that by the time you have the specific approach, and ideally you do get to the stage where you have the perfect offer for them, right? It fits their thesis and has the traction and all the things that they want. But hopefully by then you've already known them for 6 weeks or 6 months, right? And that's one of the reasons that the first avenue for funding for most people is friends and family, because they've already known you for 6 years or 60 years even, right? They know you. And so they give you the benefit of the doubt on the pitch. And that's what everybody needs here. Everybody, you need the benefit of the doubt that comes from a relationship. So yes, I would start now. And just being friendly, going to events, building relationships, like I was talking about with Kareem or somebody earlier, to, reaching out every now and then. Hey, we have a nice update. I'm not asking for money, just building the relationship. And then the last part of your question, these are good questions. I hope this is helpful. The milestones or the metrics that you need. There are not specific metrics. Every investor is different. Like I said, if it's your uncle, they're going to be much more loose on the metrics because they already have the relationship with you. If it's somebody you don't know and they're in a field, they don't have no experience as an investor in your space, it's going to be harder to convince them. Or if it's an investor that does late stage aerospace buyouts, they're going to be hard to convince because they know finance, but they don't know your space, right? So a lot of my recommendation strategy is doing the research, finding the right investors, building the relationship, so that then when you do have any kind of metrics, it's not a surprise to them, right? You've already sent them, like in this example, just building on what we've been talking about. If you spend a month running a new test a week and they've heard about this, like, oh, in our first test, we had no conversions. Our second test, we had this conversion. Our third test, we got like 14%. We're thinking we're figuring this out. And they've seen this progression. At some point, if you've targeted the right people, they're going to write back. Like, you may not hear from them at all in the first 5 emails, right? But if they start to see, investors don't invest in a point, they invest in a line, right? And you need to give them enough points to connect a line, right? And they see that trend in it. And I'm going the wrong way on your side, right? Probably that way. But give them the data points so they can connect the dots and say, oh, this is making sense, and on it might be the 15th email. And finally they say, why don't you send me your deck? Right. And that's how this works. It's not like you show up with everything perfect. Ta-da, like a Hollywood movie premiere, ta-da, here's the new movie. Everybody go see it. That's not how it works. You want to build that line and build the relationship, and any metrics you have are good metrics. Even the bad metrics, right? We learn because we learn from this. You position it as a learning, right? The fourth test was a disaster because we did this. We changed it from green to yellow, and that was stupid. But now we know that. And the next test, we're going to only use green, right? And you move that conversation along. That's how you do this. So anyway, that helpful?
Thank you, Scott. That's great advice. You helped a lot.
Okay, super. And like I said, I'm not trying to drive anybody crazy, but that's why we built this. And if it's not up to your needs now, look again in a month because we'll have even more investors every month. We're this is a serious thing I'm doing, trying to help everybody with more searchability and transparency. So that because the key to this that everybody blows is they buy like some list, and people are trying to do that with this, and I keep stopping them. There's thousands of investors in there. You don't just download them and email them all. That's just a waste of everybody's time. It makes you bad, makes me look bad, makes waste every time. But like I said, find 10 or 20 or 50 that do what you're doing because they're going to like it. That you got to find your friends. So anyway, okay. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys, I hope, in the future. Keep us posted. Nice to meet Andre and Anna from Israel. All right, 1:15. I think we have to get over to my friend Hubert. But Hubert, let me check into. Is he still here? Let's see. I kept him up all night. Poor Hubert. Okay. Hubert is here. Okay, Hubert, turn on your camera a second. Oh, he said has to go. Hubert, I kept him up all. Look at that. It was like 2 minutes ago. All right. Well, Hubert will be back hopefully. Gosh darn it. All right. I'm going to post Usman. You're not figuring this out. Usman, our last gentleman, was posting. He can't figure out how to post it in the public chat. So this is from Usman. He was trying to Seattle, looking for co-founders. There you go. Okay. So Usman, sorry. I hope that's helpful. I feel bad about Hubert. Sorry. Get talking about these things. Let's see. I'm checking the chat here. Karthik, we talked to. Okay. Andre, we did that. Usman, good. Okay, good, guys. Nice to see all of you. Okay. And let me check in our chat. And if we don't have a pitch, then maybe we don't need to do any pitches today. But if you'd like to pitch, and those folks backstage, then let me know. So, yeah, okay. So I think we might be near our end here. And Usman says thank you. So there's his post there. Okay, so back to the chat. Let's see what else. And then we might be finished today. Come on, scroll up, please. Scroll up. Hang on a second. Oh, speaking of which, if you're on LinkedIn and you see this stuff, please like and follow the Startup Council and like this stuff. It's really easy. It's the only way that we get paid for this. Just like and follow and tell your friends. Would really appreciate it. Comments are even better. You know, that's what drives the algorithms. I know it doesn't seem like much, but those little algorithm tweaks, likes and shares and little congratulations sign and all that stuff, support and the hearts, like that does make a difference, and it makes a difference in how much we can help people. So if you are on there, please do. And same on YouTube and everyone else. Let me put up the email here as well. So if you're not on our email list, please do go join. And now I'll get to the chat, and maybe we will be looking near the end of the show. But there's a lot of chat in here. Sorry, guys. Got some good questions today, so I was busy talking. Okay. Okay, Darren, good. You put your LinkedIn there. Good job. Yeah, we're pretty much out of time today for Backstage. Next time we'll do Backstage. It's founderofficehours.com, though. You can, by the way, everybody, we post these links everywhere, and a lot of people don't show up till the day of. If you get on the email list, this is not hard. Like our links are in all the emails, and read the event descriptions on LinkedIn and on Facebook and YouTube and Eventbrite. I mean, I'm not hiding the ball here at all. Okay, so Elixir says he's from Pakistan and he's starting a startup in the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Cool, Elixir. That's cool. Post your contact info if you want people to try to get involved and help you. CAD Design Line says hi from Los Angeles, looking for a seed investor in real estate for my startup in the Philippines. That sounds interesting, but you need to post some info if you'd like anybody to participate. Rusty says, if you're in Orange County, California, he will buy you lunch for intros to gym owners. So anybody knows gym owners in Southern California? Rusty's a good guy. And let's see. Oh, Usman's back for more. Okay, here's his. All right. Here's his full LinkedIn URL. Try that again. That's not me. That's Usman. All right. And what else we got here? Jeez, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Randy is Tiddliest, SaaS B2B model in LB. I don't know what that means, but SaaS is software as a service business. Wineries and wine bars. That's cool. Gamifying wine tasting. That's interesting. So Randy, put your contact info in the chat if you would like people to contact you about that. Mick, I found a US-based cross-border remittance company about that was mainly focused on sub-Saharan Africa. What's your current take on investor appetite for MSB startups? I would be happy to help you, Mutmik 4, but I don't know what an MSB startup is. So if you want to clarify, I'm sure I have an opinion, but I'm not smart enough to know what that means. So there's a tip for everybody. Be careful about using lingo. In 2020, one of his competitors got acquired for $500 million. Okay, still curious though. I don't know. I'm curious what an MSB is, but it sounds exciting. Alex, leave your contact info. Somebody on LinkedIn wants to talk to you. And Sarala posted her contact there. Nice to meet you, Sarala. And Glenda says relatable. Hopefully, yeah, that's the point of this show, Glenda. Thank you for saying that. Trying to be relatable. Oh, Hubert's back. Hubert, are you still there? Do you want to do this? Hey, you had left. Are you back?
Yep. My computer had technical issues, so I turned on the other computer.
Okay. So you want to try your pitch and discussion here now?
Yes.
Okay,
please.
great. I felt so bad. You watched the replay, and everybody will tell you how bad I felt because you had to leave. I thought it got too late and you fell asleep or something. Okay. So let's see.
To give you some context in 10 seconds, I normally have a very different problem statement, but I spoke with a managing director of a small pre-seed fund. He liked a certain feature, so I changed the problem statement by quite a bit at the beginning. And, I would love to tell you the new problem statement, if that's
okay. Great. We usually do these in 2 minutes or so. Is that right? Is this going to be a short pitch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So everybody listen to Hubert. We're not going to probably have time to debate the merits of the business, but if you have suggestions on things he left out or that he should add in, like helpful, constructive critique, I'm sure he'd appreciate that in the chat. But let's hear what you got, Hubert. I'll do my best to help.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Hubert, founder of Helpo. Helpo EdTech SaaS is a one-stop shop solution to help tutoring businesses attract clients from overseas with our multi-language content management system. A few years ago, Helpo actually was an online tutoring business ourselves. We connect highly qualified teachers to help students in need 24/7. At first, my target audience were Cantonese-speaking students in Hong Kong, but it turns out that majority of my clients are from mainland China and they read simplified Chinese. So I have to scramble and make changes to my code base. And adding additional languages after building the website is quite difficult, but it can be done. And I wish I've done things differently. Then during COVID, other businesses reach out to me and say, we would like to expand our services overseas. So we realize we can white label our solution for other businesses. So now we're in the SaaS space, offering our web application to other tutoring business to expand overseas, especially with our multi-language content management system. Then the rest of the pitch is usually the same. Then I go talk about like competitors, problem state, features, business model, things like that.
That's very interesting. I guess, okay, nice job. It was very clear. You got to be careful that you don't sound like you're reading it if too much, right? Loosen up a little if you can. Maybe just use bullet points so that you can kind of riff on it. It sounds more natural. But okay, so the big question is for me, and everybody in the chat, go ahead and offer feedback. So are you pitching the EdTech tutoring, an EdTech related tutoring business, or are you pitching the translation and reworking of the back end multilingual capabilities as a service?
SaaS service.
The second one.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not in the tutoring or ed tech space really, I mean, yourself at all anymore. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to explain that I have the domain expertise.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so no, I think it's great. So the second thing is the shift that the VC was interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. When you said that, that was much more interesting to me than the first part. So all I'm saying is, I think you need to clarify. I don't do that anymore. I am now doing this, because it was a little like, I got that there were two things, but I wasn't clear. And I know you have many more minutes, and it probably would have been clear. But the sooner that in the beginning that you're just clear, we learned from that and we stopped doing it because this was a bigger opportunity. That's a very interesting pitch. It's kind of like what I was saying to Andre and Anna a couple minutes ago, right? Like, oh, you missed that probably. But anyway, we were talking about like running some tests and communicating with investors. Like, this, it was not a failure, except that because we learned from it, right? Like that kind of thing. Like spin of like, we did this and this is even better. And I agree. The ability, and I've done that. Big platform was 15 years ago, but really big consumer platform that a lot of people here would know. I helped build that for a public company, and we had multilingual issues that were just, yeah, that's a big deal. So anybody that knows that space would really sympathize with that, I think. And I think that's exciting, Hubert. That's, yeah, I'm very much in favor of that switch. Is that the kind of feedback you wanted, or?
Yeah, thank you. I will definitely explain more clearly. It is a SaaS business, not an online tutoring business anymore. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, good. Well, that was worth staying
Thank
up
you.
for. Yeah. Good luck with
Thank
that.
you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Yeah, nice to see you again. Thanks for staying up all night.
Thank you.
All right, and good luck. Let us know how, when you if you feel comfortable with it, when you're done, come post on LinkedIn or something and tell us how it went. I hope that they're impressed by that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, nice to see Hubert. It's nice to have people coming back. One of the things I like best about working with entrepreneurs is seeing progress. And Hubert's been here 2 or 3 times now, and he always was doing a good job. But you can see the evolution in his business, and that's a big opportunity he's identified there. If they have the technical capabilities to do that, that's impressive. I think he's going to get a lot of interest. And I would suggest to all of you who are listening, you're welcome to do that. Come back repeatedly, and you'll get better. And that's why I do this, is helping you level up, right? There aren't a lot of people, in my experience, that actually really want to help, that have done this stuff. There's a lot of people talking, but anyway, I've written these books and run these podcasts and live streams for years now, trying to help you guys. All right, so let's go back to the chat, and we'll be wrapping up here. Okay, some feedback for let's see, where were we here in the chat? Yep, got that. Did that, and then there's that. Okay. Okay, so an MSB, there we go. So an MSB is a money service business. Okay, well, I learned something. All right, thank you, Mutnik. So, okay, so what do I think of money service businesses these days? I like businesses that deal with money. Why? Because there's a lot of money. That's all there is to it, right? If you're dealing with money, it's easy to take a small piece of the money and make money. My first job out of college, I worked for a big bank called J.P. Morgan and Company in New York on Wall Street. And one of the lessons they taught us in that training program, I still remember. They even gave us coffee mugs actually that said this. It said, "A little number times a big number is a big number." And that's actually in my books. I think I included that in my first book, because it's a fundamental principle of banking and any financial business. If there's a big number and you can multiply that by even a very small number, you still get a pretty big number. And MSBs, money service businesses, apparently are a perfect example of that. So if you can get in the way of money flows, that's the best way to make money. A lot of entrepreneurs follow their passion, and there's 101 good reasons to do that, but they pick areas that don't have a lot of money involved, like you love scrapbooking, or you like gardening, or you like poetry, right? I mean, wonderful things. The world would be a sad place without poetry, right? But there's not a lot of cash flow there. Getting involved in a business that has a lot of cash flow is an easy way to keep some of that cash flow for yourself. So I'm a fan of MSBs. I don't know much about them, obviously, because I didn't even know what MSB stood for. But I'm a fan of doing that in general. And I would think that Sub-Saharan Africa is a great place to be doing that. There's clearly an explosion in startup opportunity going on there. If you have, Mick, I would suggest, if you haven't already, let me give a plug for my, I'm an investor in a company called Expert Dojo. And this is something that a lot of you might benefit from. Expert Dojo is an accelerator and a VC fund based in Santa Monica, California, Los Angeles. And they do lots and lots of deals for African companies and fintech, and might be interesting for you to look at expertdojo.com. I'm actually an investor there. I'm also a scout. So if you take a look at that and that's interesting, contact me through scottfox.com and I can make an introduction. And that's true for anybody here. If Expert Dojo looks interesting to you, let me know, and I'm happy to help. And okay, so we're almost going to wrap up here. There were a couple more questions. Hubert put his let's see here, his LinkedIn there. And then, okay, a couple suggestions on the pitch there. Zana says, the pitch seemed more like an explanation of a pivot and a certain idea. Yes, I think that's fair. But Zana, it was just a quick one, right? He was just giving us the intro for his pitch. There was going to be a longer pitch. So you actually got it exactly right. He was explaining the pivot, and that was what the part he was practicing. So I think that was good feedback. And you are correct. And then let's see. Okay, and here's another good piece of feedback, Hubert. Jay Michael says when he got people giving him feedback, he'd like to, you spoke on how clients wanted your service. Yes, and that's a good thing to emphasize. I agree. When clients are asking you for more features, that's a good thing. Because like we've talked about for most of this session, there's a lot of data points that investors need. And one of the data points they love to see is the customers are begging for your product, right? That's validation. Even if you don't have a lot of revenue, or you are worried about demonstrating traction, or all the many things you should be worrying about, having customers pursue you is a very positive indicator. And then, okay, there we go. Okay, so I think we're there, right on time, about an hour and a half in. So let me thank again our friends at Cake Equity. If you go to cakeequity.com, hold on, this is this one. And then we're going to go over here. Is that it? Yeah, there. And that's a special offer for this. And these guys run capitalization table management services, and they help create stock option offers and track the vesting and all the complicated stuff that honestly you can pay lawyers a lot of money to do, and it's still often not done very well. Cake Equity has automated a lot of that, and I recommend you check them out, and you can get a discount too, as you can see. And if you have trouble with that URL or the code, just contact us. You can contact us through startupcouncil.org. And I think we're getting almost to the end here. Let's see. There's the this thing as well. If that's of use to you, and I think it probably is to a lot of you, go check it out. Love to hear your feedback. And if there's a money back guarantee on this, it's only $49. We're just trying to cover costs. If you hate it, I'll give you your money back. It's not trying to get rich here. Believe me, this isn't not making money doing this. And I think that might be it. So yeah. So, okay. So if you don't mind, please click like and subscribe, tell your friends, post a comment or two on LinkedIn, on YouTube, subscribe. Please join the newsletter list, all that stuff. We're just trying to help. Startupcouncil.org. Go over to this website now, startupcouncil.org. And we've got all kinds of stuff we're building there for you, and your feedback is welcome. And we're happy to see you again next month. I'll be doing this again next month. I forget what the date is, but it's generally the 4th Tuesday of every month. And that's all for now, I think. So watch the newsletters for other event announcements. There are lots of good things going on. It's not, you don't just have to, not that you would, but you don't have to just watch my stuff. There's lots of people trying to help entrepreneurs. So get out there, right? Entrepreneur, come join us. And make friends. That's the bottom line. That is my number one recommendation for your success. If you want to raise money, build a company, make a difference in the world, go make friends. Thanks for watching. Happy to have you here. Have a great week.